My name's Audrey Pereira. I am the change specialist on the GIQ program, which is made up of tactical estates, continuity program, and also the strategic services part. I've used a couple of tools. I've used the benefit identification and profiling tool, but I coupled that with the benefit realisation tool, and using the two in combination worked for where our program was at for tactical estates. Primarily that's because we had a number of projects that were already underway, and we were looking at business cases that had already been approved, and we were looking at pieces of work that were about to kick off that didn't have business cases approved, and we were right at the start of the process about to work our way through it. Because I needed to spend time with the people who had been identified in the various business teams as being the benefit owners. So business change manager, or the function of a business change manager, was a pretty new concept for Callaghan when we first started using these tools. And so it was a way of engaging with both the business change manager and also the people in their teams on an entire process for how we could identify a benefit, but then all of the things that needed to happen to bring that benefit to fruition. It's a sort of tool where you can evolve it, you can shrink it, you can grow it. So the basic tool that sits on Hirangi Katoa at the moment has, I think, maybe 3 or 4 columns. Depending on which project I was working on and which particular piece worked, so whether it was moving into the MSL building or the clean room or just putting a roof onto glycosin, they were different sizes of projects. And so using the tool the way I did, I could add columns and delete columns. And what I found that we worked through with the different business teams was we looked at what was the specific impact that we needed to consider in order to be able to deliver on the benefit. And so we added in different columns to the tool that allowed the business change manager and the business teams to actually look at the sort of things that they would need to consider and the actions that they would need to take over the coming period of time in order to deliver the benefits. So things like how long it was going to take and who was going to be responsible for actually following through on those actions. And an example of that might be where new safety procedures might need to be written to move into a new environment. Who was actually going to be accountable for that, and what would that actually involve? You know, would that be workshops that they needed to get new people together because they'd never co-located in one environment, and suddenly you were going from individual environments to shared spaces where different safety procedures within a shared space would actually be required and need to be written up. One of the key learnings for me, and I think also for a number of the business change managers, was it's actually quite tough sometimes to find baselines. And so looking at what a realistic baseline would be, how we could actually say, yep, we can hold our hand up and go, the business has achieved progress and we know we're achieving the benefit, means having realistic baselines. And sometimes, for example, where the previous example I gave around safety procedures, in some of the scenarios that we were working through, because the actual physical environment had been compromised for a long period of time, the safety procedures that had been written didn't apply. So actually using those as a baseline wasn't going to be relevant. And so we had to agree to come up with new baselines, or to start collecting baseline information from when we started working through the benefit tool, so that at least we could look at it out from 6 months out and go, here's our baseline from 6 months. So it was a really good learning for us to not assume that certain baselines would be in place, or to think differently about the sort of baselines that we could put together. Every business change manager and every benefit owner is going to look at it slightly differently. And as a benefit owner, you're the person accountable for realising the benefits. So you've got to be the person who's prepared to add things into it, delete things out that aren't relevant. The thing I think I would say as a fundamental piece of advice is that working through the tool and using the Realisation tool as well as the profiling tool, it really allows you to plan and to plan for the future period of time that you will need to be working towards. So things like, do I need resources? Do I need a budget? Do I actually need to stop some work so that I can focus on this to get some things in place? That's probably been one of the big things that's come out of it. From an advice perspective, it's enabled some really good planning to take place, and some conversations to start happening, I guess, between the business change manager and either their line manager or others in their teams. So, yeah, give it a go. Try it. It's a fun tool to use, and you can add and delete to it as much as you need to.